1.2 million followers on Instagram, close to 140,000 on TikTok. You've obviously built an incredible platform for yourself. Why did you even get started with the blog? Because that was obviously pre-Instagram, pre-everything else. Like where did the why come from for that?
So I actually didn't go to uni. I'm not an academically clever person, knew that like that sort of vibe was not for me. But I finished college and I was like, I'm not really ready to go into like adult life and jobs just yet. So I did a year at the Fashion Retail Academy, which is great and actually such a good sort of step for anyone who wants to get into the fashion industry but they're not sure what they want to do. I highly recommend it. And I did a year course, left and wanted to work in fashion PR. Every job interview I went to, they were like, do you have a blog? And I would literally sit in these interviews and be like, what the hell is a blog? Because I hadn't read them, didn't know anything about them. But I think because I was going in for like a junior entry level role, they clearly wanted that person to run the agency's blog or whatever the brand was and have, because it was like, that was what the good thing at the time to do was to have a blog. So I went home to my mum and I literally said, I'm going to have to start a blog so that when I'm asked in an interview, do you have a blog? And go, yep, I know what I'm doing, hire me, give me the job sort of thing. And then, within 6 months, it sort of gained traction. My Instagram following started to grow. I mean, Instagram at the time was literally when it was the brown cream square logo. Like this was like real vintage Instagram.
But there's like the sepia filters,
And I remember that. Was square and it was like, that was like the good old days. And so the follow, I think I was posting like 6 times a day on Instagram, which is wild to think because now it's like everything has to be so like curated.
Pre-stories, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, like pre-everything. It was just so simple. And I literally started to like gain a bit of traction and I was like, I think I got like 10,000 followers in like 8 months. And I was like, obviously at the time I was like, this is wild. Like why are people following me? That obviously translated across to my blog. And I started to monetize it with a platform which is now called LTK Like to Know It, but it was reward style at the time. Right. And I started creating these like commissionable links. And I think I earned like £1,500 in my first month of doing it. And at the time, I was 22 and I was like, oh, this is so much money. Like
I'm rich.
I'm literally rich. And and I realized that there was something in this. And then as I grew and then the blog grew and the readership grew, obviously I earned more money and then Instagram was growing and it just snowballed into this thing, which is, now what we call an influencer career. But at the time it wasn't. I mean, I remember telling my parents what I was doing and they thought I worked for Facebook because to them that was social. So they were like, when they thought social media, Facebook was the only thing around. And my dad would often say, when are you going to get a proper job? Like, what are you doing? And I can very proudly say now that he is very happy with the job that I've got and he's very proud of what I've done. But that was literally what it was like in the early stages because the word influencer wasn't even a thing. So, it was, I think the influencers that were around in the beginning were very up against it because you were really looked down on whenever you went and explained anything you did because people were like, what do you mean? You post pictures online and you make money? Like, that's not a job. It's been interesting. Now I do think it is amazing that like this whole industry has grown from that and like even just the jobs it's created for other people on the back of it. It's like a force to be reckoned with, the influence industry for sure.
And it's interesting that you were just saying that how many other jobs it's created because people think of influence, they do just think of like the individual who's kind of a paid billboard promoting something. But the kind of thing behind that is now you have influencer agencies and like B2B influencers. And, I guess it's kind of very much in line with like where we are as society, which is like people want real, they want human, they want authentic and kind of shove messaging down people's throats, which is what marketing used to be like, right? It was like talking at you from above. If you think of like Mad Men, for example, let's shout at the consumer from above and like tell them why they should buy us. Whereas now it's all about influencing people from within. And I guess the influencer when you would have first started was kind of the primitive version of where we are now. I want to go back to, and this is what happens on this podcast, by the way. Welcome to therapy.
No, it's fine. I'm loving this.
I want to go back to, you said you didn't want to go to university. Did you enjoy school? Like, what was that like for you?
No, I mean, I was literally like that kid that was in the bottom set of all of like any of the like English maths, things like that. I loved textiles. I loved, like, I think that we did, I can't remember what they called it, but like, when you do like cooking and things like that.
What's it called?
Home
I
don't know what it is. Home tech or
food tech. There you go.
Home tech.
Whatever. I love how like it's a cooking class and we're saying everything but food.
Anything that was creative I loved, but I just felt very I just knew from a young age that I wanted to be rich. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I love money and I want to make money. Like,
can we just have a moment for that? I love that you say that, because so many people are scared to admit that.
I
love money too. I want to drive a Lamborghini.
Honestly, my favorite saying in life is, I'm fine being high maintenance because I'm the one maintaining it.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that all women should strive for. You should be high maintenance, because if you're maintaining it, doesn't matter. But I was literally from probably about the age of 10, my dad called me 5-star Sarah. I would literally pull up outside a hotel and we'd, with my family, and go, how many stars is this? And I was 10 years old. So I always knew that there was something in me. And so I think even being at school, I was just like, I just wanted to go out and make money. I just knew I did. So, but I knew I wanted to work in fashion. And obviously when you're younger, the fashion industry is a bit of a monster and it's overwhelming. But I just knew, and God, I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing. But I just thought I was going to work in, like, a bit like Devil Wears Prada, and I was going to be working at a fashion magazine, and I was going to be wearing fabulous clothing, and I was going to, Sex and the City vibes, and it was all going to be really cool. But I just think one thing that I always say to people, I'm like, never be afraid to not go to uni. Because I just think I think it's a little bit archaic now that you go to school, you then go to uni, you get a degree. And I just think the times have changed so much that jobs are so different these days. You can literally work from home. You can create jobs online. I mean, even people OnlyFans is a thing these days. Do you know what I mean? You can make money in any way. And I think that one of the things, I think, especially for young people, that they have to just trust their gut and go with what they feel like is right and don't conform with it. Because I didn't. I remember my dad was really, I think probably most of my parents were a little bit like, you don't want to go to uni. But actually, I'm living proof that if you just follow what you want to do, it normally works out.
It's really interesting, actually, because I didn't like school either.
Did you not?
Every single person I've had on this podcast that's built a business, from scratch, has also said, I hated school.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and I've said this before and got in trouble for it, but I'm going to say it again because I don't care. I really do think that school raises you how to think.
Yeah.
And raises you what to think.
Yeah.
So it's grades are good, so study to get grades. Grades then get you into university, which you have to get first in order to get you a job. It's like this checklist of, I need to do what they're telling me in order to be successful. And I wonder, in many respects, that entrepreneurs, or at least people that I've met like yourself, and I certainly think this, don't enjoy school as much because we're not like that. Our brain is wired completely differently. Before we started recording, Ollie, our producer, was laughing and saying that I change my mind all the time. I literally change my mind all the time.
Yeah.
And it's because it's just constant. And that manifests itself at school as why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why are we doing that? Why do I have to learn about Pythagoras' theorem? Why can't I learn about tax? And then you get in trouble, and then you get this negative reinforcement of school's really miserable.